So, it was one of those market days where not much happened on the surface, but everyone's eyes were clearly looking ahead. Hey everyone, it's Tuesday morning, August 19th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we begin, today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital. For smart investment solutions and high-quality funds, head over to amf-capital.de. If you enjoy the podcast, please rate it wherever you're listening and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Alright, let's get to it. On Monday, U.S. stocks barely moved. The Standard & Poor's 500 slipped just under the flat line, the Dow dipped about 0.1%, and the Nasdaq squeezed out the tiniest of gains. Basically, a pause after 2 straight weeks of wins, but the real story wasn't the indexes, it was the politics. Geopolitics were front and center as Ukraine's president, along with European allies, met with President Trump in Washington. The U.S. has been pressuring Zelensky to accept a peace deal leaning toward Russia, right after Trump's lengthy talks with Putin in Alaska last week. Traders weren't making big bets while waiting for signals on how that dynamic could play out. Still, what markets really care about this week is the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell is set to speak on Friday at the Jackson Hole Symposium, most likely his final one as Fed chair. His words usually shape market expectations, and after last week's hotter inflation and consumer data, traders have dialed back their rate cut hopes a little. Powell's speech could make or break those bets. Ahead of that, we'll also see the minutes from the Fed's July meeting on Wednesday, which will set the stage for Friday. Earnings season is winding down, but there are still some big names to watch. Reports from Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's later this week should give us a fresh read on consumer spending. Monday's action was quieter, with Palo Alto Networks and Blink Charging reporting results. And in corporate news, Intel's stock slipped after reports that the Trump administration might take a 10% stake in the company. That comes just a week after speculation about using CHIPS Act funds to boost the chip maker. So, yeah, a calm Monday on the surface, but with huge events looming later this week. So, that's it for today's Capital Markets Quickie. I'll be back tomorrow morning with a brand new episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate the podcast, and share it with your network. Thanks for tuning in.